Are you making a fashion statement today, or are you chilly?
No, I'm making a fashion statement, yes. In fact, I'm not chilly. I'm actually borderline sweating over here. I literally was just going, why the did I wear this jacket in here? I'm starting to sweat.
That was last week when Chris showed up with a bomber jacket.
Yeah, fall time,
He should have
baby.
been wearing a apron or bib or a biohazard suit today because sources tell me coffee was flying.
Coffee was flying, yeah. We started a little late because I decided to walk in an area that you weren't supposed to walk in on NBC right now. They're doing construction, but I was running a little late, so I was like, they're not working right now. Let me cut through. And, you know, they had, like, the big orange pillars with, like, the yellow tape that say, like, caution. And, you know, the orange pillars come up to about my waist. So I was with a young lady in the office who I don't know, but she also saw the blockage. And I was like, oh, come on, we can cut through. I went, the rules are meant to be broken. That's what I said. And as I do that and move the cone with my hand, also with the coffee in my hand, my coffee goes all over the floor in a spot I'm not supposed to be in. So, yeah, I left that mess for somebody to deal with.
So, wait, you've gone next level over the pouring of the hot water into the trash can. Now we're just pouring coffee on the floor.
Just on the floor. Hey, watch out. Keep your head on a swivel. You don't want to fall or anything. So, yeah, that was not my best moment there, and I'm a little flustered because of it. And then I had to get coffee from the office, right, which is just not up to my standards, right? I am bougie with my coffee, bougie with my hotel rooms and my coffee, and this is just brown water. So I'm not in love with what I'm drinking right now.
So wait, it wasn't just you had to clean up your coffee spill. You also had to go get more coffee.
I had to go get more coffee. And to let you know, I didn't clean up anything. I was like, I'm in a rush. And I was like, somebody else is going to have to deal with this. So
just so we understand this.
Yeah.
The delay was solely because you had to go get more coffee.
Yes, it was. I went back and I checked the area of the puddle. And I was like, all right, it's blocked off. I was like, I don't have time here right now. I got to get a little coffee. So, yeah, the whole delay was that. It was like, at first it was going to check it. And then I was like, wait, I'm not going to be able to find paper towels. So I just moved on to the next thing and got a little more coffee in there. Here we go, baby.
Well, fortunately, I no longer practice law. Otherwise, I may have been asked to represent the employee in the workers' compensation claim that arises from slipping and falling on the coffee that was on the floor.
Yeah, I'll have them call you, counselor, if somebody goes
right.
down.
All right. Okay, let's see. Oh, this was an email that we got recently. This comes from someone who volunteers at Zoo Atlanta. This person was in the back room and saw the handprint of one of the animals who used to be there, and they thought of us because the animal's name is Bingo the Bongo. Bingo, bango, bongo would have fit completely, but I'll take 2/3 of the stool. Bingo the bongo. All right. No bingo, bango, bongos last week. There haven't been many recently, but last week was a good week. Last week was a very good week. Last week was a week where we both kind of reestablished our pull it out of your butt and get lucky streak. I was 13-2 straight up. You were 12-3, and we both started the week 0-1 because we both had the Steelers beating the Bengals.
Right.
If the Steelers win that game, I'm 14-1, and you are 13-2 against the spread. 12-3. You were 10-5. I was 12-3. Maybe we should quit and go to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, the run I've been on lately, I've had a lot of people telling me that, right? That is. So, yeah, I know. But as soon as I go to Vegas, of course, that's when it'll all get messed up and, you know, I'll get cold and then lose all my money.
Good Lord. What is that?
Oh, that's Napoleon Dynamite right there.
I know it's Napoleon Dynamite, but let me tell you, the amalgamation of your face and Napoleon Dynamite's hair
that's a little scary right there.
is going to haunt my dreams for the rest of my life.
Well, I don't even know who you are. I mean, who is that? I don't even know.
I don't know.
It looks like you, just with a weird coat on.
Oh, that's apparently a Dancing with the Stars costume.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Like
right.
We were supposed to get that, like right off the bat. Okay,
and you know,
here
I
it
saw
is.
this 5 times this morning when Jason Garrett was on PFT Live.
Oh.
Here it comes again.
Oh, look at MC Hammer, MC Hammer,
Spider-Man.
and Jason Garrett doing hopscotch. I don't know.
Well, Garrett told me that he reverts to his agility drills from when he was playing. That's the instinct that takes over.
Oh my
The
gosh.
dancing becomes his agility drills.
I like this. This is sealed with a kiss. This is my favorite thing on the internet. Also, Florio is ready for Dancing with the Stars. Yes, if MC Hammer shooting spider webs is cool, then Dancing with the Stars will love him. Florio's a better dancer than Simms. Can't believe this. Chris Owens, official. That just shows me you're really white and you don't know dancing. That's just what that showed me right there. So yeah, you got.
I think we need to have a dance off one of these weeks.
Yep. Sure.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it really is fun, and it's something that just kind of happened organically. I avoided it. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
There was a clamoring from the outside for me to do it, and there really is no thought that any of us put into it. Garrett and I were talking about it. We find out 30 seconds before.
Right.
Here's the dance for the week.
Right.
And it's like, wait, what? Show me that again. Wait, show me that again. So it is fun, though. It is fun. I both look forward to it and dread it at the same time.
I hear you. It is fun, though. It's a great thing to do, and it's a lot of fun, and it gets a lot of love on the internet, so that is kind of cool to see that.
Well, and last week, because we did 2 takes, I was sweating after the second take.
Well, yeah, you were dancing like MC Hammer. You were the only one there doing that. Of course you were. And then Jason was doing either hopscotch or a ladder drill. He looked like he was doing a quarterback lateral drill that you do. Like, let me hop in this one, spread there, do all that. So it's been great. And, yeah, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I'm not saying I'm any better. I just was freaking making it up as I go.
Well, we'll get to do it in Pittsburgh somewhere this week. I suggested that maybe we do the polka since we'll be in Pennsylvania. I don't even know how to do the polka, so I don't know how to do any of it. It is fun. And it's largely well received, which surprises me. And my family likes it. My 88-year-old father-in-law was trying to pull up the video on his phone the other day. So it's been an unexpected surprise in a season full of unexpected surprises. No surprise this week, though. This is the maximum bye week with 6 teams off. That means that there's only 13 games for us to discuss as we get into it. But before we do that, we are reminded that every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms pick 'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Oh, yeah, it's free, all right. Download the DraftKings app, click on the pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 pick-up pool to make your picks.
No Thursday night games are included. You have until Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. Also, there's no early morning game this weekend on Sunday. So 1 game tonight, and then lock in your picks by 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. The teams off this week. There are 6 teams off this week: the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Cardinals, and the Raiders. Not off are the Vikings and the Chargers. The Vikings have already had their bye. They have 2 games, in 4 days. 4 games in 2 days would be a health and safety issue, although I'm sure some would say that it's perfectly fine. But the Vikings, after losing to the Eagles on Sunday, they go to L.A. to take on the Chargers. Chargers started 3-0. They've lost 3 of 4. The Vikings are win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. They're currently 3-3. Chargers are favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 44.5. Carson Wentz gets his 5th start. Will we see Carson Wentz and the Vikings do enough to get to 4-3?
Well, the big thing for me, and I'm not going to pick the Vikings, I'm going to pick the Chargers. But as I always say, Thursday night's weird. I wouldn't bet on Thursday night. I'd be scared of it. We've discussed that a lot. Can Minnesota win the football game? Of course they can. The one thing I think Minnesota needs to do, though, to be a little bit, is they need to run the football more. That's the thing that bothers me, I think, more about their offense than anything. They're running the ball at, yards per carry way higher than what it says they should run the ball, if it makes sense. They don't have enough attempts, right? That's what I'm saying. The numbers bear out that they should run the ball. That's what I'm trying to say without getting too in the weeds here with numbers and all that. They do it when they run the ball. They get yards. I thought we were going to go into the year this year with Minnesota putting more of an emphasis on that, and they haven't. They get too pass happy. This is not the team you want to get pass happy at. If you want to beat the Chargers, you have to run the ball. They don't have a good front 7 that way. And like you saw last week with the Colts, once the Chargers have to worry about stopping the run, then you can throw the ball on them. But if you're going to be one-dimensional and just throw the ball on the Los Angeles Chargers, you're not going to beat them. So within that, I don't have the faith that the Vikings will do that. right? And also the other factor here is just that, yeah, I trust Justin Herbert more than Carson Wentz. That would be my bottom line statement. And Justin Herbert's been doing a lot of good things. I know they're going to stay patient with the run to keep Flores honest in that side of the ball. So and the Vikings run defense is not that great. So I'm going to go Chargers 30-27 in a pretty big football game, as we know. That's kind of a must-have, especially for the Chargers.
Yeah, this is, I think, a pivotal midseason game for both teams if they want to make a push for the postseason. So you do have the Vikings covering by a half point. I don't have any numbers to back me up, but I do have eyes. Anytime Jordan Mason gets the ball, there's a push, there's a pop, there's a gain. And I've been saying all year, run Jordan Mason. Isn't that why they traded for him?
I thought so.
Run Jordan Mason. I think what happens is when you get a guy like Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer, great designer of pass plays.
Right.
I think you find yourself too often going to that well.
Exactly.
Once you get into the flow of the game.
Right. That's the problem. And that's where I think he would be better served for Carson Wentz and his football team, and he'd find more big plays in the pass game if he would stick with it. Here's my point, right? They're the 20th in football in yards per game running the ball. But yards per play running the football, they're tied for 14th. Right? So they're up there. That doesn't match up. That is a stat that tells you they're not running the ball enough. They need to do it. We'll see. And we're at a point here with the Chargers right now where you just go, yeah, they look like they can throw the ball on anybody. It doesn't really matter who it is. And that's where I just give the Chargers a little edge tonight.
I think the Vikings game plan defensively will be to take away the pass and force them to run. Last week, it seemed like they were committed to taking away the run and daring Jalen Hurts to throw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And he accepted that dare without it even going to triple dog. He accepted it, and he had one of the best games of his career. I think it was only the third time in franchise history that a quarterback had a perfect or maximum, depending upon how you regard that number, of 158.3 passer rating. From the NBC research notes this week, I think I saw that Nick Foles did it. It was probably that 7-touchdown game against the Raiders back in 2013. And then Donovan McNabb did it at one point. So it was a career day for Jalen Hurts because the Vikings miscalculated in their broader defensive plan. I still think the Vikings are going to win this one. I think I've been right about every Vikings game this year except the Falcons in week 2. And it's just pasta and meatballs. I knew they were going to lose to the Steelers. I knew they were going to lose to the Eagles. I think they're going to go out there and win tonight. I think there's going to be a ton of Vikings fans in that building. I think they're going to take over SoFi Stadium. I feel bad for Rodney Harrison. He's going out there, and he is there to be put into the team's Hall of Fame at halftime. There's going to be a lot of Vikings fans who witness it. I don't know how many Chargers fans are going to be there. So Vikings 27, Chargers 23, strict pasta and meatballs. Because the one thing I take away from Sunday's game, even though they lost, the game was there to be had against the defending Super Bowl champions.
Well, that's what's hilarious. I mean, it's a perfect passer rating like you talked about, and they went 2 quarters where they couldn't move the ball, and they had 7 yards of offense. So, yes, it was there to be had. And that's where it tells you there's a quarterback rating flaw, and that's all messed up and whatever else. But, yeah, it was there to be had. You got screwed over by, not stopping them on a few fourth downs, and I still will sit here and think that Hockenson caught that pass for a touchdown.
And that holding penalty, that bull crap.
The bull crap call that called back a touchdown. Those were huge moments of the game.
But Carson Wentz needs to be, he's got this chariot pumpkin. He needs to be chariot tonight. And I wonder how ready they'll have the undrafted rookie, Max Brosmer.
Well, they're stupid. If they have him play, then they're going to lose, and that's just to be it. That's a dumb conversation. So let's go to the next game.
At some point, you got to do something.
Well, why? It's not all on Carson Wentz. That's why I don't like it. Like, what do you mean? They've been functional. He's been very good for a backup quarterback. Very good. I don't disagree. What did you expect you were going to get? A guy that was going to take over games and throw for 400 yards? Like, that doesn't happen. That's a dreamland. You're going to go with Max Brosmer? Good luck. Go ahead. Do that, Minnesota. See how that goes for you.
All right, 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. The Miami Dolphins take on the Atlanta Falcons. We went 19 years between games featuring a pair of left-handed quarterbacks. Now we're going 7 days.
Right.
Because it was Dylan Gabriel and Tua Tagovailoa last week. This week it's Tua and Michael Penix Jr. Penix has said he's good to go. He was day-to-day with a bone bruise. He got banged around late in the game Sunday night against the 49ers. Again, Falcons favored by 7.5, over-under of 44.5. The Dolphins are beyond desperation. I think they're at the point of apathy. Can they pull this one off?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I think this is a horrible matchup for the Miami Dolphins. Like, horrible, horrible. Yeah, their speed is offset by the Falcons' speed on the defensive side of the ball. The Falcons are significantly faster, right? So that's where I look at it. I go, the Falcons' D is really fast, and they can totally match Miami's speed and then some. That's going to be the issue. And then Miami, and I just look at this game with, the way the Falcons play D, think this is a game that Tua will be flustered and have issues. It's a defense that's every bit as fast and maybe even faster than the Cleveland Brown defense we saw last week, and he certainly struggled there. So I look at that to be an issue. And then it's at home in Atlanta. Atlanta's got to fix their stuff a little bit. I mean, it's up. We play good, then we don't play good, then we play good, then we don't play good. Like, that's just that inconsistency bothers me, but this is a play good week, right? On the field turf, Atlanta's going to be faster, right? I think they're going to overwhelm Miami with their team speed. Plus, the Falcons are going to run the down Miami's throat to such an extent, I think it could be comical. Or Miami will have to sell out to such an extent to stop the run. It'll be bombs away, Penix. I go 34-17 Falcons.
I have an issue with the phrase fun fact, because my position is it's a fact. I'll decide whether or not it's fun. Anytime anybody says fun fact, it's like, wait.
Did I say that?
Fact, and then I'll let you know. I'll let you know whether or not it's fun. I got a fun fact for you, though. The last time Tua played in that building, do you know when it was?
Probably the game he came in at the end and threw a touchdown pass for the guy who couldn't throw a pass, Jalen Hurts. Right, right.
Yes, he has not played in that stadium since the national championship where Tua entered the game for Jalen Hurts and won the national championship over Georgia 26-23. I don't think it matters. I don't think it means a thing.
No.
I think that the Falcons need to reestablish themselves after getting smacked around by the 49ers. They beat the Bills and they tell the world we've arrived, and then they left. Well, they'll re-arrive because the Dolphins really are in disarray. I have no confidence in that team based upon all of the comments, all of the sound, all of the reaction. They're just kind of going through the motions at this point. They don't have any answers. There was some talk about whether or not Tua was going to be benched because the coach said everything's on the table. It could be that Quinn Ewers is the permanent number 2, jumping past Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
That becomes important if Tua gets hurt. But I think the Falcons win this one 30-17, 4 points off from Bingo the Bongo. But 30-17, the Falcons win. And because Mike McDaniel was safe for this week, I doubt that he gets fired before next week because they play Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
So
yeah,
the hammer will not fall until after the Ravens game, if then. So 1-7 looks to be the immediate future for the Dolphins, and the Falcons get back on the right track. Speaking of the Ravens, they host the Bears on Sunday. The Ravens are favored by 6.5, even though they're 1-5. And the Bears have won 4 games in a row. It's the damnedest thing. And I think that line is based on the presumption that Lamar Jackson is going to play.
Feels like it.
I don't know that he's going to play.
Yeah.
He was a limited participant in practice yesterday, and I don't know what it means to be limited. He arrived like 20 minutes into practice.
It's not a good thing. Right.
And John Harbaugh, the coach, wouldn't talk about.
Limited basically means he did nothing except the walkthrough, and he did a few procedural things, right? That's what it means. And that, to me, to your point, I'm picking the game as if he's not playing.
Me as well.
Yeah. So that, for everybody out there, that's how I'm picking it. If he was playing, I still think this would be a close football game. Again, I know we're going to get last-ditch effort from the Baltimore Ravens off a bye week. They're going to be, this is their last hope. We got to, bring it all together here. So I understand that. And I do think that the Ravens will be able to run the ball with Lamar or without Lamar on the field. I think they're going to be able to do that against Chicago. We know this is not a great Chicago defense, and I think they'll be able to score points no matter who's the quarterback. I think there'll be plays there to be had. But the other side of that is I expect Chicago to be able to run the ball and do whatever it wants on the Ravens too. I mean, Chicago's got great balance. They're explosive in the run game, and they're explosive in the pass game. And that's where, like I said, it's a close football game here. But I'm going to go with the Bears and them feeling their vibe and the fact that I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to play. I think it's a fun game no matter what. I'm going to take Bears 27-24.
I got 23-20 Bears, and the reasoning is identical because I don't think Lamar is going to play, and I think the Bears are good enough to keep this going. They have a really fun vibe right now. Wins that get stacked create more confidence, and the balloon gets bigger and bigger. And for the Ravens, I'm resisting this idea of their backs are against the wall. This is a pride game. I used that pride game crap 3 weeks ago after they lost to the Chiefs.
Right.
Hey, it's a pride game against the Texans. The Texans have never won there. Cooper Rush was serviceable as the starter, 9-5 in 14 starts with the Cowboys. They'll be fine. They'll get back on the right track. And they got run off the field by the Texans. They were kind of in it early against the Rams, but the Rams pulled away. They've had 2 weeks off. Right now, this year's Ravens vibe is bad. It's negative. I know they haven't given up, because why would they? They're not going to say it out loud. I just feel like that this cause is lost, and the Bears will drop them to 1-6 and move them even closer to the end of the road. And, there's a way the dominoes fall, that if Lamar doesn't play this week, and then if they would happen to lose to the Dolphins next Thursday night and fall to 1-7, there's a certain point where you just shelve Lamar for the rest of the season.
It may be. I mean, that I'll be interested to see what they do there. I will. I doubt that'll happen. I doubt he would want that to happen, right? And even I think as a player, it's like you don't want to take the year off. Playing this year will help you and benefit you for next year. But yeah, this is a huge game for Baltimore. They lose this one, it's officially over. And it's like you're going to have to run the table basically from here on out. And I don't think they're capable of that.
All right, 23-20 for me, 27-24 for you. We move on to the next game on the slate. The Buffalo Bills coming off of their bye at 4-2 with only one truly impressive win against the Jets. They've beaten 3 other not very good teams games that could have gone either way. Let's see. It was the Ravens who have 1 win. It was the Dolphins who have 1 win. And it was the Saints who have 1 win.
Right.
So a lot of questions about the Bills.
Right.
But I'm saying the three close games were against teams that are combined. I can't do the math, but it's got to be 3-24 by now.
Yeah, something like that.
That's unbelievable. And the Bills have real questions about their ability to stop the run, that they have flaws, and they go to Carolina, which don't look now.
Yeah.
The Panthers are getting it done on both sides of the ball. So how do you see this one playing out? The Bills are favored by 7 in Charlotte.
That's a little much for me. I mean, listen, I'm going to pick the Bills 23-20, but I don't feel good about this. I'll say that. Again, we always talk about this. It's a matchup league. You just explained it. This is not a great matchup for the Bills. We talk about this every week, right, when they have a game. Here's Carolina. This is a team that can run the ball. We see anytime Buffalo has to play a team that can run the ball, they're in trouble because they can't be aggressive in coverage and be successful. So they're going to be now, okay, we have to stop Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle and stop all that. But, there's T-Mac and Tetairoa McMillan out there and Xavier Legette, who are guys that can beat the Bills' corners one-on-one. So I look at that. You talk about the Panthers. The Panthers' defense is good. I mean, you've heard me say week in and week out, they can stop the run. And then Buffalo's not that scary in the pass game. They got a good pass game, but it's mostly good. And if it is scary, it's just because of one guy is scary. It's not like, oh my gosh, the weapons are unreal. The scheme is unreal. What are they going to do? So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills just because a week off, their culture, right? They're going to want to get back on the right track. They're battle toughness type of football team, and they'll get it done. But I'm not going to, sit here and feel comfortable about it. I do think this is an upset alert type of football game.
And look, I've already taken my hand off the checker. I'm not going to change, my mind on this. I've got the Bills 27-24. But I'm sitting here thinking, are we allowing ourselves to be influenced by the past?
Yes.
Is this a game we should be looking at and saying the Panthers are going to win this straight up? We both have the Panthers covering. Are we influenced by the narrative surrounding the Bills and the pre-2025 narrative about the Panthers? Should we be just looking at this saying this is obvious the Panthers are going to win?
I don't think that, but I think people are way overestimating Buffalo because of their past and their quarterback. I think they're giving them way too much credit. And Carolina, yes, deserves a little more credit than they are getting, but yet there's still flaws. As we know last week, it wasn't impressive what they did with the Jets. But they have moments of looking impressive. So I get Buffalo being being favored, and I don't have the guts to take Carolina in a game like this quite yet. This is, to me, still a Buffalo type of game. Carolina, this is going to be their first experience in this kind of like, whoa, it's a big game for us, and we're playing another team that it's a big game for them. Whoa, like they haven't been a part of that, and that's where I give Buffalo the advantage.
A couple of interesting facts may or may not be fun. I'll let you decide. This comes from the NBC Sports Research memo that goes out every Wednesday, and I've tried to add to my overall method to the extent I have one, reading that Wednesday night, so maybe I have some stuff that I can share with you, Chris, on Thursday.
Cool.
The Bills are allowing 5.8 yards per rush. That's the worst mark in the NFL. The only team to allow a higher mark for a single season was the 1934 Cincinnati Reds, who surrendered 6.4 yards per carry. They are a long-defunct NFL franchise that existed for 2 seasons. So the Bills are on a historic pace when it comes to allowing rushing yardage. But Sean McDermott is 8-0 coming off of a bye week. That's the most wins by any coach without a loss in NFL history. And I think the bye for me was the
difference maker.
That was the thing.
Right.
It's the scales, and they just tip a little bit. The extra time to get ready, the urgency, the message to Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, use James Cook more. That was one of the concerns from the Monday night loss to the Falcons. Where's James Cook? Let's use James Cook. You're paying James Cook. I think the Bills will get it right, but they won't cover that 7-point spread, even though 83% of the spread money's on Buffalo. I have a feeling when the so-called sharps get involved, that number's going to change.
Right. I think so, too. I think you're right. You're exactly right. I think the general public is way too high on Buffalo.
All right, the Jets and the Bengals. We don't know who the Jets starting quarterback is going to be because Coach Aaron Glenn seems to believe there's a competitive edge in keeping the Bengals in the dark. I'll say this. Based upon what Woody Johnson said about Justin Fields on Tuesday, I will be shocked
Me too.
if Justin Fields is playing quarterback on Sunday.
Me too.
So it's going to be Tyrod Taylor against the Bengals, which I think helps the Jets. We've both talked about this, and I think you're absolutely right. They look better as an offense. They function better with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, and maybe he should have been the starter this year from week 1, not Justin Fields. But the Bengals coming off of that Thursday night win over the Steelers, 6.5-point favorites, over under of 44.5. You have not yet picked the Jets to win this year.
Yeah, and I won't be starting this week. I'm a little bit of like, I got to see it to believe it here, a little, all right? I don't think I'm going to pick it until I see it because we've seen them kind of play good in some games, and they still find a way to screw it up. Right? This could be the week, though, and especially if Tyrod starts. Because, yes, Tyrod Taylor is going to give them a chance to move the ball consistently. I'd be shocked just like you if Justin Fields plays. If the coaches didn't get the memo, all right, earlier in the week, they certainly got the memo when Woody Johnson says what he says. Like, I actually think it's hilarious that we're still acting like Justin Fields might start this week after Woody Johnson said what he said. I think so. Like, I'm totally expecting that. Now, we know, too, that, if you're the Jets, you need an offense because you got Joe Flacco and the 2 weapons out there starting to go, hey, we're feeling ourselves. We got a little something going here. We like that. And where I do give the Jets a fighting chance is the Jets' pass defense, Mike, is the real deal. I mean, if you look at it, they've played some of the best pass offenses in football and some good quarterbacks, and nobody goes off. Nobody. So that's where I look at it and go, if there's an upset to happen, this could happen this week because they might be able to slow down this crew and the passing game of the Bengals. And that's where I think the Bengals having to run the ball and be successful in that manner is going to be crucial to their football game if they want to win it. But no one has thrown the ball on the Jets really this year at a high rate, right? But like I said, I got to see it to believe it. I'm going to go Bengals 28-24. I think they find a way to win the game.
So you are giving the Jets the cover. I got Bengals 31-13. I just feel like the Jets are imploding. The Bengals have that lift. I think they will be able to run the ball. And I still think they'll be able to pass. The last I saw, Sauce Gardner was in concussion protocol. I don't know where that stands. Right. And you never know whether or not a guy's going to play. It used to be you definitely miss a game. Now it's just kind of like who knows whether or not we're going to see the guy 1 week after the concussion. Here's a couple of fun facts from the NBC Sports Research memo, or actually just one. Jamar Chase can become the 3rd player in NFL history with 3 straight games of 10 or more receptions and a receiving touchdown, joining Michael Thomas in 2019 and Keenan Allen in 2017. Also with 13 catches, Chase would have the most receptions over a 3-game span in NFL history. Now, 13 sounds like a lot, but he had 16 last week. And we know Joe Flacco is going to throw it to him.
No doubt.
That's the one big takeaway. And shame on the Steelers for not doing anything about it. So it'll be interesting to see how they play those guys. And will it open up T. Higgins more this week? But either way, they've got it going with Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase. And look at how quickly they got it together. They've had more time
I'm impressed.
since the Steelers game to the next game than they had from Flacco's arrival to the Steelers game.
Yeah.
So
no,
I like the
you.
Bengals.
I hear you.
All right. The 49ers travel to Houston to take on the Texans. The Texans played until 1:24 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. They had to pack up and fly to Texas and play a Sunday 1 o'clock Eastern game. I don't like that. The league did that to the Raiders after week 2, sent them to D.C. for a 1 o'clock game after they played until 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning. The 49ers are 1.5-point underdogs in this one. And I don't know, maybe the odds makers didn't watch all of the game because that Texans offense is basically non-functional.
Yes, it is pitiful. It is pitiful. There's no other way to say it. And it's like they don't even know what to do. Of course, they can't run the ball. The offensive line gets no movement there. They're not pass protecting horrible. It's not that bad in pass protection. But the problem is there's not a lot of creativity in the pass game, and there's only one guy you got to worry about, Nico Collins. That's it. So that's a problem. And I feel like they're not sure what to do either. I feel like their offensive coordinator and what they're doing down there, they're like, wait, we wanted to run the New England offense, but it's not working. So let's go back because I worked for Sean McVay and the Rams. Let me try some Rams offense. And it's like they don't know what way to attack. So but here's my bottom line. This game is going to be a freaking bloodbath. This is the battle of the psychos. That's what this is right here, as you know. The Texans, just like the 49ers, are built on guys with a phrase of no hesitation. Okay, coach wants me to run through the wall, and they're already running before they say run through the wall. They're already like, oh, I'm going. That's what they got here. This is going to be crazy physical. I'm going to take the 49ers because I got more faith that Shanahan can come up with a few ways to make some plays on the offensive side of the ball. But this won't be easy. As you've heard me say almost weekly, and we saw it last week, the Texans' defense can almost win games by themselves. They literally kept them in the whole game the other night and then started to make turnovers and sack touchdowns and everything else where you're like, are they going to pull this off with this freaking defense like this? I'm going to go 20-15 49ers. They win a tough physical football game.
I've got 23-17 49ers. I am surprised they're the underdogs here. Nico Collins, by the way, he left the game Monday night with a concussion, and that's a quick turnaround to get a guy cleared. A Monday night, Tuesday morning concussion, back and ready to go 1 o'clock on Sunday. That's going to be a tough task to overcome. And without Nico Collins, they have no passing game. And frankly, I was stunned that they didn't do a concussion evaluation on C.J. Stroud after he slammed the back of his helmet onto the turf in the fourth quarter. They even talked about it. They showed it on ESPN. They said, look at his reaction. He grimaced. He threw his hands against his helmet. No evaluation for him. And Woody Marks, his head bounced off the ground when he caught that touchdown pass late. No evaluation for him either. I just wonder sometimes who's paying attention, and maybe they fell asleep in the ATC spotters booth late in that game on Monday night. So I've got the 49ers 23-17. I like what they're doing. I thought that the Fred Warner injury would be the thing that sent it the wrong way. They look pretty good on Sunday night.
So tough. Shanahan's having one of his best years coaching ever. I mean, ever. I mean, come on. What they're doing with the backup quarterback, no receivers. George Kittle hasn't been in the lineup till last week. Their offensive line's not playing good, yet they're moving the ball. Right? But I will say, this is a game I'm thinking about the under. I am. Because I have it 20-15, and I could see it being 16-13. I could see it being 14-10, right? I think the world of this Texans defense is going to go, we're going to stop the run. We'll lock you up with our corners. We're going to load the box and play cool zones, and that's where I think the game could be really interesting.
You know, you had the under on Monday night.
I know.
You had it.
I know.
And I had like all of my Malocchios and every trick in the Italian superstition bag to try to get that last touchdown, and it looked like it wasn't going to happen.
I know.
The Texans kept getting great field position, and they kept blowing it.
I know. I got mad at the Texans defense when they got the strip sack fumble for the touchdown. I was like, oh, why did you score? Nobody was going to score anymore in this game. What the hell happened? But yeah, they can't win them all. But my thought was in the right spot there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it almost did nail that under. You were right on the over. It sailed over in Dallas, 44-22. It was 54.5. They scored 66 points. All right, Browns at the Patriots. Patriots are favored by 7 with an over-under of only 40.5. 83% of the spread money is on the Patriots. The Patriots have won 4 in a row. And when we get to the end of the season, we're going to look at week 1 and we're going to say, the Raiders beat the Patriots week 1. Just like we said last year, the Patriots beat the Bengals week 1. It just shows you how crazy week 1 is and how meaningless it is. What do the Patriots do here? Do they get their winning streak to 5 in a row?
I think so. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, you got to play Cleveland the right way, and that's where I think the Patriots will be good. One, it's up in New England. The Patriots haven't been home in 4 weeks. They've won 3 in a row on the road. They're coming home for the first time in a while where the Patriot fans are going to be like, whoa, we're for real. We're back. I think that place is going to be kind of crazy on Sunday, as crazy as it's been in a while. And then I think you couple that. Vrabel and McDaniels will understand we're playing the Cleveland defense. Like, I bet you they play very conservative at first. And they're going to play a game where they're going to go, we'll play conservative. We think slowly but surely we'll find ways to move the ball on Cleveland. But let's just not turn it over and let their defense win the game. Because I don't think there's any way that the Cleveland Browns offense can move the ball on the Patriots defense. So that's what I look at. I think they play that kind of game all day long. They know Cleveland won't be able to run the ball on them, right, or move the ball on them that way. And then I just look at it and go, man, all the pressure is going to be on Dylan Gabriel in the pass game, and he doesn't have great weapons. It is not a great pass game. And we're seeing the Patriots pass defense and those corners are a real pain in the ass. So slow beat down here. Slow beat down. Real careful beat down. 24-9 Patriots.
27-17 Patriots. Mike Vrabel, who was with the Browns last year as a consultant, both in coaching and personnel, he knows that team.
That's right.
He understands what the challenge is. He's going to know how to get this team ready. And he understands that you completely undercut what you've accomplished if you lose to a Browns team that has not looked good this year, but for the one game against the Packers. I mean, they beat the Dolphins last week, but
yeah.
So right. I think the Patriots will be fine. Here's one about Drake May from the NBC Sports Research memo. He said a franchise record for completion percentage, 91.3 in a regular season game last week with a minimum of 10 throws. He now has 5 career games with 80% or more completion percentage. That's the most by any player in their first 2 seasons in NFL history. 5 games with 80% or higher. He's completing passes, and the offense is moving, and the Patriots are winning. Next up, the G-Men.
The G-Men.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Another crack at the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 7.5, 43.5 point over under. I have picked the Eagles to win every week this season. Now, 2 weeks ago today, when the Giants hosted the Eagles and you still picked the Eagles to win.
Yep.
Will you pick the Giants to go down I-95 and pull off what would be a massive 2-game sweep of the defending Super Bowl champions?
I don't expect it. Now, I don't know what to expect with the Eagles a lot of the times. I mean, as we know, the Eagles kind of keep everybody in the game. Everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. But I'm not going to go X's and O's here a whole lot. I'm going to go a little bit more gut, pasta, and meatballs, in honor of you here. And that, I feel like this is last week's loss will filter into this week for the New York Giants. I feel like last week's loss was so crushing and debilitating that it's like one that's going to be hard to overcome. And Philadelphia can definitely feel good and positive and have their chest puffed out for the first time in a long time. And with all that too, right, the Giants the first time around were pretty aggressive in we're going to stop the run, and we don't think Jalen Hurts can consistently throw the ball and make the plays to beat us. They were close in that first game, as we know. I mean, the big interception, right, if Philadelphia scores there, that game's going to be a nail-biter. I think the Eagles put them away in this one. The Giants might hang around for a little, but I'm going to go 31-17 Philadelphia Eagles.
I got Eagles 28-20. Pride comes into play, the swagger that they reacquired after that right. mini bye that allowed them to fix the offense, and they're going to want to make things right following their loss to the New York Giants. So it just all sets up. And look, I don't think any team, I think even the best team of all time has a hard time coming back from that heartbreaking loss in Denver. This is a young team that I think is really going to struggle to not let one loss become 2. This is just a horrible spot for the New York Giants. By the way, the Eagles have won 12 straight home games against the Giants dating back to 2014. That's the longest home win streak against any opponent in Eagles franchise history. So we both think it's going to hit 13. And Saquon Barkley needs to have a big day.
I think this is the week.
3.3 yards per carry. He ranks 37th out of 38 players with 50 or more carries this season. 37 out of 38.
This is the week he breaks one big one. The way the Giants played last time, they'll be able to look at that and go, ooh, we got something for you this time. I think this is the week you see him break one.
All right. Speaking of breaks, we're going to take one when we return. The late afternoon games for the 8th Sunday of the season with a sneaky great matchup between the Cowboys and the Broncos in Denver. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFTPM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, joint Mega Picks podcast for the 8th week of the 2025 regular season. The late games begin with a division rivalry between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. This was must-see TV a few years ago when it was Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Dennis Allen shutting out. The COVID game when Sean Payton missed and Dennis Allen was the coach for the day. 9-0 was the win over Tampa Bay. So it's a hard-fought rivalry, and the Saints aren't going to back down to anyone, and they've got some extra something for the Bucs. They hate the Falcons more, but they don't like the Bucs either. The Bucs are favored by 4.5, coming off the loss on Monday night to the Lions. Over under of 46.5. I have yet to pick the Saints this season. You'll find out in a second whether or not I will for this game. Chris, who are you picking?
I'm going to pick the Bucs here. Now, I mean, they're missing Bucky Irvin. That's one thing. They need him back. That's for sure. Because Bucky Irvin, of course, what he does in the run game is special. What he does in the screen game is special, and especially when you couple that with them not having, right, their wide receivers and everything there. So that's going to be a big one, and I don't know if he's going to be back or not. But nonetheless, I just believe in Tampa more. One, the New Orleans Saints pass game is just not good enough, right? I think they have the ability to run the ball, but the Bucs are a team that's just not going to let you run the ball on them a whole lot. And I don't think the Saints are so good that they can break runs like we saw Jahmyr Gibbs do last week against the Detroit Lions against the Buccaneers that way. So then it becomes, can Spencer Rattler in the pass game win the football game? And no, I just don't believe they can. Not to this point. I don't love the scheme. The quarterback, as we know, is just okay. I think the Bucs bounce back in this one. It won't be easy. I'm going to go 28-17. I kind of look at it as like 21-17 late in the game, and the Bucs score a touchdown to kind of put them away. That's kind of how I see it.
I think this is a very dangerous game for the Buccaneers.
I hear you.
And I don't think Bucky Irving is going to be back.
No.
Rondé Barber recently said on his weekly show, and obviously he's tied in with the team.
Definitely.
That he can get no information from anyone about Chris Godwin or Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just kind of a sense. They haven't put them on IR.
Right.
But week to week, they're out. And I don't think Irving's going to play. I think Irving's already been ruled out. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think he has been. But I don't expect him either way. And look, the Saints are difficult to beat at home. They beat the Giants at home. Division rivalry, throw out the records. I'm tempted to pick the Saints to win this game.
We'll do it.
I think that Monday night loss, that the Bucs are going to be a little wobbly. I didn't the hands off the checker. I did the picks last night. I did Bucs 24-21. I like the Saints to cover. There's also a little, like Baker Mayfield said something about he's not bracing for a clean game from the Saints. So there's going to be a little piss and vinegar in this one. And I think the Saints, who feel their season slipping away, there's a little pride that comes into play. I like the Bucs in a close one, 24-21.
And you're right, Bucky Irving is not. He's been ruled out.
He's been ruled out.
He's been ruled out.
And Godwin too. And Mike Evans is out for the year.
Yep.
And it's just and Baker Mayfield was limited in practice yesterday with a knee injury.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see him walking, he's limping. It's amazing that he is able to keep going week after week. All right, next up. This is I mean, other than Steelers-Packers, which will be there on Sunday night, this is the most interesting game of the day to me. The Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos. Denver is favored by 3.5. Denver has not looked good since beating the Eagles, and that was just get their shit together for one quarter. The Cowboys have been clicking offensively. Defensively, they stink, which makes their games fun. Denver, again, favored by 3.5. Highest over-under of the week of 50.5. The over is hit in 5 of the 7 Cowboys games this season. The under has hit in 5 of Denver's 7 games this season. How do you see this one going?
I think I expect a fun game. I do. I don't think anybody can really stop the Cowboys offense. I don't think that's really possible, right? I think you've done a good job when you just keep them around 24 or 27. That's how good they are. I mean, they're scary because they can run the ball. It's official. They can do that. And then these two on the outside, and I'm saying that in the most, best way possible. Oh, they're scary, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, it's scary. And Dak Prescott, the way he's throwing the football and all that. But I still look and go, hey, Denver's really good, and they'll make some plays, but you're not going to stop the Dallas Cowboys at all. You can't just say, oh, we're going to shut them down. We'll make it 17-14. I know they scored 14 against the Bears in week 2 or whatever, but they messed up a lot of that game too. It should have been more than that. They moved the ball more than that. So the problem is, of course, is the Cowboys defense, and I just don't trust that. I mean, the Cowboys defense, everybody's jumping on Matt Eberflus, and yeah, sure, we can question some of the stuff he's doing down there, but what I would question more than anything is this, some of the worst personnel in football on the defensive side of the ball in Dallas. What are we talking about? Who's there that we expect that defense to be so special? Who is it? Tell me. I mean, are we going to hang our hat and Odigizua is going to carry the team, or Kenny Clark? Most people can't name the middle linebackers or the linebackers of the Cowboys. Most people can't name a safety. Most people think Trayvon Diggs is still really good, and he's not anymore, right? Deron Brand
and he's out with a concussion.
With a weird, we don't know what happened at home injury, right? So because of that, and the Broncos being at home, I'm just going to go with the Broncos, and that they find a way to make enough plays in this football game. I'm going to go 27-24 Broncos.
Now, I have suffered multiple concussions at home over the course of my life, but I'm not a professional athlete. I mean, you would expect someone like me to slip and fall in the shower and hit my head on, the bathtub railing, which I've done. That was my most recent self-inflicted concussion.
Wow.
At home.
I didn't know that.
So you've got the Cowboys covering by a half point at 27-24.
I know. I don't even know if I feel good about that, but I'm going to do it. I'll stick with it. I will.
Well, and as we were talking about the game, I looked at the score I put down last night of 24-20 Broncos, and it's like, should it be 34-30? But I think the Broncos defense will put the clamps on the Cowboys and do just enough to outscore them. A couple of facts from the NBC Sports Research memo, because this was surprising to me. The Broncos have won 7 straight games against the Cowboys. Yeah. It's one shy of tying the longest win streak by any team against Dallas in the team's history. The Eagles won 8 straight from 87 to 91 over the Cowboys. And the Broncos, and I did a couple of trivia questions with Jason Garrett today. One was very easy. Who's the only rookie quarterback to ever beat Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh? Because it was Dak Prescott's rookie year and Jason Garrett was the coach.
Right.
At first I thought, is he going to do the Cindy Brady red light, not get this? But Dak Prescott has beaten every team in the NFL except the Cowboys, obviously, the Bills, and the Broncos.
Wow.
So it's amazing. He's only played, this is his 10th season, and he's beaten 28 different teams. I don't think it's going to happen for the Cowboys on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. It's not best bet territory. But I think that Sean Payton probably used last week's escape as a red-hot poker on that team. They FAFO'd almost against the Jets and the Giants. He's not going to let that happen again. 24-20. Broncos win, but again, I don't feel great about it. It could go either way. All right, Titans and the Colts. This is the number 1 versus number 32 team in the PFT power rankings, which Chris loved this week. If you missed Wednesday's show, go back and watch him lavish praise upon me for the algorithm that resulted in the configuration of the teams. Biggest spread of the week, Colts by 14, over under of 47.5. What do you see happening in this one?
Well, I see the Colts winning the football game. That's what I see going on there. And the Colts are really almost a perfect team. They're missing one thing, and that's like a big-time defensive player that can make a big play in a big moment, right? I expect them to be in the trade conversation for somebody on the defensive side of the ball when it comes trade deadline. Maybe it's another corner, something like that where they can trust this guy on an island and man-to-man. Maybe it's another just high-end defensive lineman. Either way, the Colts offense is just, it's too damn good. They got too many answers. It's too well orchestrated and thought out. The personnel's phenomenal. And then, of course, we know the Titans' offense isn't very good. And this is a Colts offense that you've heard me talk about a lot. They bend a little bit, but they don't break. They don't. They got the whole, like, what I call the old-school Patriots thing going on in some years where the defense wasn't dominant, but they were like, you score a field goal, Tom scores a touchdown. You score a field goal, Tom scores a touchdown. And I think that's what we'll see continually from the Colts. I got Colts, I think it's 34-14, 34-14.
34-17 would have been the bingo, bango, bongo, or bingo the bongo. The thing about the Colts, they don't dick around with lesser teams.
No.
Look at what they did to the Dolphins. Look at what they did to the Raiders. Now, they had a tougher game than expected with the Cardinals, but the Colts don't screw around, 34-17, and it could be worse than that. And to your point about edge rushers, I look at the transaction report every day, and I noticed that they had Shaq Barrett in for a workout this week, a guy who once had 19.5 sacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's won a couple of Super Bowl rings. He said, or his agent did in April, he's going to play this year. That was the first time I'd seen his name come up, and they didn't sign him to the practice squad or the roster, but it just tells me they're looking for help when it comes to getting to the quarterback. And we'll fully crystallize who the sellers are at the trade deadline after this week, maybe next week. I think the Colts could end up adding a guy if the right guy is available. All right, let's take a break. When we return, the 2 primetime games for Week 8, including the game we will be able to inspect the grass at Acrisure Stadium before the game, and we will have updates on social media and elsewhere. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, back after this.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code CORNERBACK when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And as always, please wager responsibly, only with money that you are prepared to lose. Also, be careful about making big bets on the unders on anyone's prop bet. You could get them investigated by the feds and possibly indicted if you're following any of the news coming out of the NBA currently. All right. Let's get to it. Sunday Night Football. We will be there at Acrisure Stadium. It took me a few years to quit calling it Heinz Field. It's Acrisure Stadium at the confluence of the Allegheny, the Ohio, and the Monongahela rivers. Can't wait.
I can't wait either.
I'm so excited for this. It feels like I'm getting away with something because I only have to travel 90 minutes to get there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great night. The weather looks like it's going to be favorable. It's going to be a little chilly, but it's going to be favorable. The Packers are favored by 3 in Pittsburgh. The Packers currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Steelers are 4-2. They're 1-1 at home. 45.5 is the over/under. I've picked Green Bay every week this season. We both have picked Pittsburgh to win every week this season. So
what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go ahead. You can lead it off with your favorite team.
Well, it's pasta and meatballs, and this is the team that, even though it's not my favorite team or my second favorite team, and I suffered through Super Bowl 9 when the Steelers beat the Vikings 16-6, I just feel like I have a finger on the pulse of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this just feels like a game they're not going to lose. It just feels like it. And, usually when we pick these scores, it's never a scoregami weird type score. It's usually something within the buoys of what typically happens in a football game. But the number 26-22 just kind of came into my head last night. Steelers win 26-22. Aaron Rodgers, I'm concerned that he will be a little too emotional. Now, the good news is the Packers are wearing those winter warning uniforms, which are far more relevant in Week 8 than they are in Week 2 when they wore them at home for a Thursday night game. But it's not going to be a fit that he's ever seen before. Like when he's looking across the field, he's not going to see the yellow helmets. The yellow helmets are going to be on his head because they're wearing those ridiculously hideous, hideous, awful, the worst uniforms I've ever seen. They're going to be wearing, but the Packers are going to have white helmets, and I think psychologically that'll be a factor. But I think he'll get it together. I think the team's going to play well. They're going to take advantage of the extra days to get ready, and I see the Steelers pulling this one out 26-22.
Man, I've gone back and forth with this game. There's no question the Packers have more talent on the football team. There's no question. The Packers are a more talented team. But the Packers have not played very good football lately. I mean, it's every week Strugglesville. Yeah, okay, they controlled Cincinnati, we know, in Joe Flacco's first game, but even the end of that game became a little too close for comfort. So I don't know what to think of the Packers. There's potential. They frustrate me a lot like the Philadelphia Eagles do in a lot of ways, where I just go, they're not playing to their total potential here. And I don't know if I expect it to happen this week either. Now, what scares me, and because I'm kind of leaning like you, I'm going to pick the Steelers. I'm going to pick the Steelers, but the Steelers' defense certainly scares me. Against an offense that's coming into town that's just going to go, I mean, Green Bay, they're going to throw the ball down the field. They're going to attack. but they might do it to such an extent where I don't know if it always helps them right now. They have no intermediate short passing game in Green Bay. They got to remedy that a little bit. It can't always be looked down the field for a huge play. I think that's what's leading them to a little inconsistency on the offense, and then they haven't been able to run the ball all that great. But this Steelers defense is not very good. But I do think it's more personal for Rodgers, and the Steelers will feel that it's more personal for Rodgers and want to back him up rather than Green Bay. There's a lot of guys there like, I wasn't on the team with Rodgers. I don't really give a damn that we're playing him. I know it's a big deal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go the Steelers too, 24-21, Mike.
Yeah, it's not like Brian Gutekunst is going to walk into the locker room and implore the Packers to go beat the Steelers to help him settle the score, because Rodgers said this week, I don't have any animosity toward the organization. No, it's toward specific individuals like Gutekunst, who he reportedly wanted to have fired. So it's going to be easier for the Steelers to rally around Rodgers than for the Packers to rally around anyone, really. Yeah, I just feel like this is a night where Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose to Jordan Love. He doesn't lose to the Green Bay Packers. Also, I suspect Mike Tomlin has been up the butts of his defensive players. They got to get it straight. After that display last Thursday night.
Right. No question about it. No question. They got to change what they do on the defensive side of the ball. Like you heard me say to you yesterday on PFT Live. Right now, Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin aren't holding up their end of the bargain with Aaron Rodgers coming into town. The offense is better. It can be dangerous. And they take care of the ball and they make plays. The defense has got to start showing up.
Here's the other thing, too. After chasing around Jamar Chase last week, it's going to feel like child's play to cover the Packers receivers. Nothing against the Packers receivers, but they're not Jamar Chase.
No, they're not.
No one's Jamar Chase. That's good practice for facing a team with lesser receivers. All right, Monday Night Football. The Commanders are at the Chiefs. Kansas City is favored by 12.5. And the line before Jaden Daniels was ruled out with the hamstring injury he suffered against the Cowboys, the line was 10.5. I'm surprised it was that high and that it only moved by 2 to 12.5 with Marcus Mariota. But I'm not going to ask you the trivia question. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
I tweeted this yesterday. The last time the Chiefs failed to make it to the AFC Championship game, they lost at home to a team quarterbacked by Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. In the playoff game where he threw the pass and caught it himself and scored a touchdown, right? That was pretty. And who was it? Musgrave? Not Musgrave. Who the hell was the damn head coach there? Kind of got fired for the
Malarkey.
Right. He got fired and probably shouldn't have been.
Alumnus of the PFT afternoon show.
Yeah. Yep. So listen, the Commanders' defense stinks. Okay. The Commanders' defense stinks. The Commanders' offense, we don't know what to expect. What's the health status of Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel? That's something to worry about. The Chiefs are playing big-time football right now, right? The only way I see this game staying close at all is if Washington, who can really run the football, and that's not going to change because Marcus Mariota can run the ball. We know that too. That's the way they can at least upset or keep the game close. But all in all, of course, I'm going with the Chiefs to win this game. Their offense is going to move the ball. Their defense is playing good, but I'm not going to have them cover 31-21 Chiefs.
Oh, my gosh. We almost had it. Because here's what happened. As you know, and it's well established, I don't look at the spreads. I thought I picked the Chiefs to cover at 31-20. That's my pick, 31-20. I thought I picked them to cover.
Yeah.
And now I see it's 12.5. And it's like, do I add a field goal? Nope. Hands off the checker. Once I put it down, it's over.
I almost made mine 31-20 on the fly, even though I had 31-21. I was like, I should take that away. But all right,
it's close to a bingo, bango, bongo. We'll have another one of these days. When we return, best bets and the Folsom Prison Blues pick. Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM. Best bets time. We each take 3. We disagree on one game this week, and it's tonight's game. So skull. Who you got in your best bets?
The first one I'm going with the Falcons. You heard me say it. The Dolphins are done. They're a beaten puppy. They're going into Atlanta, who's going to be mad about the way they played last week. They match up with the Dolphins. The Falcons are favored by 7.5. I got them winning by 20. So, yeah, I'm going Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons as well. I feel like the Dolphins, it's over. It's over. When you hear Jordan Brooks, one of the defensive captains, saying it's hard to come to work, and they didn't make any changes, and I think they're tanking. I think Stephen Ross is tanking. I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't fire Mike McDaniel. He wants that first overall pick that he supposedly wanted back in in 2019. So give me the Falcons. Go.
Tanking for Tua. Okay, here we go. I'm going with the Patriots. The Patriots favored by 7. I think it's a slow beatdown. I'm going to take them.
Colts. They're going to, I think, put the pedal to the metal against a far lesser team in the Titans and cover the 14-point spread.
I'm also going with the Colts. That'll be my third one.
All right, and my last one is the 49ers. I'm not impressed with the Texans, and I am impressed with the 49ers, and I think Kyle Shanahan will have a few tricks they maybe held back from D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, I hear you. I thought about
Folsom
going with the
Prison
under in
Blues.
that one. I thought about going the under, and I thought about the Panthers too. I'm going to go with the Colts over the Titans as my
Colts.
Folsom County Prison Blues.
1 versus 32. That's an easy one, and the Titans win. Enjoy the games. Bet responsibly.
See ya. Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.